welcome to Kush News, the newscast of the African diaspora. I'm your anchor, Ochanda, daily bringing you the top stories from Africa and the Caribbean. Let's take a look at today's news on Friday, February 16th, 2024. Let's go to West Africa, where a confederation is forming. The governments of Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso have made public their plans to form a confederation following their exit from ECOWAS. This came as part of a speech by a Mali government spokesperson delivered at a meeting that ministers of the three states held in Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso. The three states of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso last month announced their withdrawal from ECOWAS on grounds that they said were illegal and inhumane sanctions. Those in West Africa, let us know your thoughts on the three countries forming a confederation. Wow, what a way to move things in a short span of time. Incredible. Let's go to Senegal, where the presidential election is back on. Senegal's president says that the delayed election will be held, quote unquote, as soon as possible, after the top court in Senegal ruled that his attempt to delay the election was unconstitutional. Senegal's president Macky Sall has so far served 2 terms in office. And on Thursday, the Constitutional Council annulled President Sall's decree moving the election to December. The move will some way restore Senegal's reputation as a bastion of democracy in West Africa, as Senegal has been the only West African country since to date that has not had a coup or coup attempt. Ever since he announced that he wanted to delay the elections 2 weeks ago, President Macky Sall has been under immense pressure to reverse his decision, both from ECOWAS and his citizens. His citizens daily having protests in the streets with running battles with police. Now that pressure appears to have yielded results, with a statement from the presidency saying that Mr. Sall will comply with the court ruling and will also hold talks with all relevant stakeholders without delay in order to hold elections as soon as possible. The original date was set for February 25th, but looks like there will not be enough time for anyone to campaign, so therefore a new date will be given. In its ruling, the Constitutional Council said that the president could not stay in power beyond the end of his term, which is April 2nd, so it will be before then. The Western body of ECOWAS had urged Mr. Sall to comply with the decision and all decisions after. Those in Senegal, let us know on what do you think about the sudden change. Let us know also, does the recent court ruling also put back your faith in the judicial system in the country? Let's go to Ethiopia, where the heads of state are in the country. Presidents of several African nations, including Cabo Verde and Rwanda, have arrived in Ethiopia for the 37th African Union Summit. Several leaders of the AU member states have already arrived in the capital prior to, and many others are expected to arrive this morning.
We should do everything to prioritize agriculture and food security. There is urgent need to direct our investments into adaptation, especially in attaining food sovereignty. Last year, as you all know, through the Africa Climate Summit, we made a significant shift in the continent's climate narrative and made commitments on being part of the solution to the climate challenge. In the Nairobi Declaration on climate change and call to action that was adopted at the end of the summit, the continent made commitments to, and I quote, redouble our efforts to boost agricultural yields through sustainable agricultural practices to enhance food security while minimizing negative environmental impacts.
The 37th AU Summit will be opened on Saturday under the theme Educate an African Fit for the 21st Century. The leaders are expected to discuss on various issues, including peace and security. Those in Ethiopia, let us know on if you have gotten your chance to maybe get close or see any of the African heads of state. Let's go to the Caribbean, and end it there. We go to Grenada, where the Ghanaian president was in the country. Prime Minister of Grenada, Dickon Mitchell, signed 3 memorandums of understanding with President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, on matters of culture, trade, and education between the two countries. Also, a visa waiver agreement was also signed, in which will exempt citizens of Grenada and Ghana from visa requirements for both countries. The president's visit included him as the guest of honor at Grenada's 50th anniversary of independence celebrations at the National Cricket Stadium. This visit by Ghana's president marked the first time that an African president has visited Grenada since the 1980s. Those in Grenada. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know if you got a chance to see the president of Ghana in your guys' country while he was in town. When we come back, we'll have today's African proverb of the day. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Let's take a look at today's African proverb of the day, and it comes to us from Somalia. What's going on, Somalia? That's blue flag, white star, right? That's how y'all do it. And it reads, if you can't resolve your problems in peace, you can't solve war. Once again, if you can't resolve your problems in peace, you can't solve war. Somali proverb. This is nice. And here's the other way that you can look at it. Is if you can't solve your problems in war, don't expect peace.
I don't want peace. I want problems always.
So I come from the era where I know that now in the United States, I guess bullying, is really frowned upon because now it doesn't build character so much, and it can lead to other things. But I come from the era where bullying was almost unnecessary. Because it built the young man to grow up and be the functional man in society. And so I say all that to say that oftentimes you would have to prove yourself by getting into fights in order to have peace, whether that's in the lunchroom, in the library. Something that I don't think a lot of people know is that from the era that I grew up in, if you hadn't proven yourself with your fists, it would be often that you would just be messed with. So you could just be walking down the hallway and somebody would purposely slap all of the books in your hand on the ground. And they would consistently do that until you had proven that you were somebody that could defend yourself. And that could be not only the debooking situations, but you're in class studying hard for an upcoming test and somebody's just flicking your ear every time that they go up and pretend to use the pencil sharpener, or maybe throwing away their piece of gum. Or it could be things like, hey, somebody's just taking a piece of food off of your food tray during lunch. Ask me how I know this. I'd say that the opposite can also occur, is if you haven't proved or if you haven't succeeded in war, don't expect peace, because now the other side, because remember, there's always an opposition in whatever it is that you do. Now the other side just now realizes that they can get the best of you and you can't do anything about it. Let me know your interpretation of today's African proverb of the day, as well as your thoughts, views, questions, comments, and concerns on the top stories. Don't forget to hit that like button. Make it your best friend. For Kush News on Kush Convos TV, I'm Ochanda. We'll see you soon.